Well, America is back at war, parish orphans and retrogrades. And this one is the big one. For about 46, 47 years, the war hawks have wanted war with Iran since the regime change against the Shah in 1979 when the Ayatollahs came in. Not saying, for the record, before we get into the entire news cycle on this Iran war, which began last night at about 1 a.m. my time, Central Standard. Not saying Iran's not bad, not saying that the Iranian revolution of the Guard coming in and taking out the Shah was a good thing. It hasn't been. Not saying they're good guys. But the war hawks, the neocons and zeocons who worship Israel have wanted this for about 47 years. You know, it's older than I am. Since 1979, they've wanted war with Iran. And now it appears as if we've got it. So I want to play for you real early on President Trump in the middle of the night last night from Mar-a-Lago, not from DC, explaining to the United States that, and he didn't say this explicitly, even though Gallup polls show the lowest American support for Israel and the highest American support for Palestine, both of those separate metrics, since 1948. He's going to go and once again be Israel's little errand boy. And this after promising no new wars, promising his administration would be predicated on no new wars and diplomacy and really avoiding foreign adventurism, particularly in the Middle East. He said, we're now engaged in war as of about 1 a.m. my time early this morning, and it's really, really bad. And there's no, I think, rational way to look at this that is MAGA rather than MIGA. I'm going to be framing this whole thing, and lots of people are. This is one of these, when I'm doing geopolitics, I'm not claiming the high special insights you're used to here philosophically or theologically. I'm just applying those insights philosophically and theologically, geopolitically. And it's the Republican Party is MAGA versus MIGA, make American great again versus make Israel great again. Do we have that tape queued up, Stevie? Let's just show Trump speaking for himself as if he's not speaking for Israel.
The States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard,
please,
terrible people.
Defend the American people from Iranians. Is there something I'm missing? Did I miss some memo? Are the American people in danger of the Iranians, the Iranian regime? I'm not saying they're good guys. There are tons of bad guys around the world. Are we in some danger I didn't know about? For all the cat turds out there and the MAGA Q-tards, the cult worshipers, the Larry Loomers, I know their story, and the Mark Levins and the Ben Shapiro's and the Dave Rubins. But I mean, for the cat turd type Q-tards, I want to see where Bongino's at on this. I'm sure that's going to be a shocker. For all of you, did I miss some memo? Are the American people at risk of the Iranian regime? Because that's what it takes for this to be a just war. Sorry, I won't pause it a bunch. Let's let it roll. Thanks.
Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world.
That was a little more on it.
For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel.
This is piddly.
In
We're going to
2000, they
1983?
knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died.
USS Liberty.
Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years.
If the USS
as well
Cole
as
matters,
US
why doesn't the
naval and
USS
commercial
Liberty? Is attacking a US warship an act of war that will be repaid 3, 4, 5 decades later or not? Oh, it's more complex than that. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer.
Oh, okay.
From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests.
Okay,
we're going to destroy their missiles and raise their...
So when I heard this in the middle of the night last night, I went to sleep early, which for me is midnight, and I woke up and was texting someone, I think my brother, and it's like, this is a boots on the ground kind of situation. This is not even like what happened with Venezuela last month. It's not like that at all. This is a massive and ongoing boots on the ground operation where American blood will be shed, and Trump admits this shortly. In about 2 minutes into his pro-war speech, he admits American lives will be lost. Stuff's going to happen. And it sounds like we're in it for the long haul. Hopefully, some of my friends with military experience, my buddy who Notre Dame educated, lawyer who flew helicopters in Iraq, was like, hopefully they just do regime change with the Ayatollahs. I have another buddy I was on the phone with in the military right before, literally 30 seconds before this, and he was pointing out that they can't attack the mainland. They can't counterstrike the mainland, the Iranians, but all of the bases. I'm going to read which bases are under attack. You're not seeing that in the news. They're fighting back. They're not going to sit on their hands, the Iranians. So they are counterstriking. This is a full-fledged war with Iran, the powerhouse in the Middle East, aside from Israel. So this is not a little skirmish like we've had before. This isn't even like Iraq. This is the big one. And they appear to be doing it. Maybe they'll just do Ayatollah regime change, which is still a bad idea. We'll see. But Trump mentioned blood and guts. Look at this. Israeli strike kills 85 girls at Minab Girls' School in Iran. That's blood and guts. It never counts for these warhawk Neocons like Trump and all of his little goons and all of his little advisors and all his little cat turd like cheerleaders. It never counts if you're talking about blood and guts of Palestinians. And I'm not trying to sound like some hippie. I don't like Islam. I don't like Sharia law. I don't like Islamic terror, but I'm not pretending these people are our friends. But I don't like Israel either. And I don't want any blood and guts. What we want in the region is either A, peace, or B, not to be involved without our fingerprints on the blood and guts there. And this is Israeli strike killing 85 girls at Minab Girls' School in Iran, in southern Iran, not on a base. False news was trying to recharacterize this girls' school being blown to smithereens for no good reason, because regime change doesn't actually work, as history has shown. They're trying to say this was on a base, a girls' school on a base, which would not make it much better, but would make it a little bit more justifiable. So if Trump dislikes blood and guts, then why are we never allowed to talk about Palestinian blood and guts? Like girls. I verified that this attack on the girls' school, depicting rubble, smoke, crowds around damaged civilian buildings, consistent with reports of today's Israeli-U.S. coordinated strike on a girls' elementary school in Minab, southern Iran. Iranian media and outlets like Al Jazeera, WAPO, NYT cite between 50 and 85 student deaths there, not a military base. Strikes hit Iran overnight early today. Okay, so there you are for blood and guts. We're going to talk about the counterstrike by Iran on the U.S. that you're not hearing in the mainstream news after Trump finishes his, let's worship Israel speech without quite saying the quiet part.
Missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces, and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government.
If bombs are dropping outside everywhere, don't leave your home. Stay in your home. Bombs are outside. A bomb can hit a house, as far as I'm not a ballistics expert or anything, but bombs dropping everywhere outside endanger a home as much as your basketball court outside, open air.
It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
So Trump's the total traitor in our view, because he said no American president was willing to deal with Iran in the last 47 years. He was ushered into the White House by saying no American president was willing to abstain to get us involved in other wars. Listen to the campaign. Listen to all of this.
And I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. I'm proud to be the first president in decades who started no new wars. That's very good. But I'm proud to be the first president in decades who started no new wars. And the reason I started no new wars is they respected the people in this room. My proudest legacy will be that of a...
I guess he doesn't respect the people in the room who wanted no new wars anymore. That's a change. What changed?
Peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm especially proud to be the first president in decades who has started no new wars. I was the only president in modern history who did not have any new wars. No new wars. I finished some old ones, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. We don't want to see wars. I don't want to see wars. I was in no wars other than we finished a war with ISIS and we completed it 100% complete. But I don't want to see wars. I think it's so horrible, so unnecessary, so costly in terms of lives and money in that order. And destroying these countries, you're destroying culture.
Last year, I was the only one that got up and said, don't vote for Trump. He's owned by the Jews. He'll bring us to war in Iran.
Okay, so there's Fuentes following up. Yep, and I agree with that. Trump is owned by the Jews. He's not his own man. The way these boomers will swear, he's his own man. He goes his own way. He's a cowboy, right? Drain the swamp. He's not part of the Beltway swamp, the cesspool on the Potomac, whatever. It's unfreaking believable how owned this guy is by Bibi Netanyahu, pushing in his stool for him. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I promised the Iranians are hitting every base in the region back. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iraq, Kuwait. Even some reports that they're hitting back in Abu Dhabi. Now, I mean, this is fog of war reporting, mainly just an op this way, op that way. But the point is, the Bahrain U.S. Fifth Fleet is getting pummeled. That's what Navy men, what sailors are saying widely, if you look a little deeper in the internet. So we are being hit back. It is a full-scale conflict. This is not a skirmish. And Trump, as Thomas Massey has been pointing out, left, right, and up, down, center, all over the place for the last 18 months, knowing that this was coming, this war with Iran was on the horizon, seeing that there's been this shift in Trump's posturing, and he has been grandstanding, war with Iran is coming. Congress did not vote for this war. It's an illegal war. And more than that, it's an immoral war because it does not meet, for Catholics anyway, for Marco Rubinstein, for Marco Rubio, for for all of the would-be Catholic pretenders, to J.D. Vance, who again was saying no new wars up to 9 months ago. For Ron DeSantis, anyone who pretends to be a Catholic inside the Beltway or as a gubernatorial future presidential candidate, it's not a just war. And I know they think that's like a joke to talk about what's actually moral in the theater of geopolitics, in the forum of foreign wars. That's pencil neck stuff to actually ask whether what we're doing is moral. But they dabble in it. Look how much moral hortatory language there is in Trump's 7-minute speech. Tons of dalliances, momentary dalliances peppered into his speech. A lot of moral pretext. And that's what's ingenious about this neoconservative Straussian Machiavellianism. This is what the neocons do. That's so Jewish. It's so very Jewish. Is they flicker, they pepper in some moral language, and they'll say, we don't want blood and guts. It's immoral. This regime is a regime of moral monsters. This is the right thing to do. But they put those 5, 6, 7 phrases in once per minute, and the rest of the speech, if there's 7 moral or hortatory exhortations, which presuppose that morality actually matters, that doing just wars actually matters. That's 1 per minute. Let's say it's 7 in a 7-minute speech. That's 1 per minute, right? I'm just doing some quick math. And that moral language insinuates a kind of moral realism. But the other 58 seconds of each of those 7 minutes of a neocon, Israel worshiping speech are utterly consequentialist. They claim that moral realism is consequentialism rather than what, virtue ethics, Thomistic moral realism that says, I'm seeing the world the way it really is, meaning we need to do the right thing. We need to not F around and spill American blood, spill enemy blood unnecessarily, and we need to not do it for the most wicked nation, at the behest of the most wicked nation on earth. Israel, the furthest left, most radical left, secular Jewish nation in the world since 1948. We certainly need to not do the devil's work for the devil's henchman, Bibi Netanyahu. So see the genius, the Machiavellian Straussian genius, and Strauss is sort of godfather of the neocons. So you should consult my semi-recent show about 8 months back on the figure of Leo Strauss, the Jewish godfather of neoconservatism, that says, hey, leftist American Jews, you should get into the Republican Party so that we can continue to war hawk the shit out of the Middle East. We're going to do so with this Byzantine, phony, pseudo-intellectual base of Straussianism, which is like an intellectual joke, like a revisitation of Athens and Rome and the best Greek and Roman philosophy there is, given this Jewish esoteric gloss. This is what Straussianism is, that upholds American neoconservatism circa 1976, 1977, when all the Jewish Democrats left the Democrat Party, became Republicans, made neoconservative warhawkism a thing, all in the name of Israel, even though they won't say the name of Israel. They'll say it's American interests. This is MAGA versus MIGA, and it's Machiavellian as it gets.
There's some breaking news. I don't know how reliable this is, but David Harris is reporting that Israeli
Ayatollah.
senior, that the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini has been eliminated.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, if the Ayatollah is gone, I mean, that's fine. That's not, if we did that and got out of there, then it would be like, okay, that's not bad. Let's wait and see what Russia and China are going to do in response to this. We're already, and I know it sort of sounds fake and gay to care about what Western Europe says, but France, Germany, Great Britain already saying, let's return to diplomacy the way Trump promised he would do with Iran. Remember, everyone mocked him. All the neocons mocked him in 2015 on his stump speeches when he says, I would use diplomacy. I would use the art of the deal with Iran. Do you guys remember that? He actually seemed to piss off all of the bloodthirsty neocons inside the Beltway when he said in 2015 and 2016, I tried diplomacy with Iran. That was the right call. And now he's just flip-flopped on that. So if Khomeini is actually dead, fine, we'll take it. That is a win. See, I don't love it. I'm not an Islam lover. The Ayatollahs are bad dudes, but they're not our enemy. They're Israel's enemy. This is all about MAGA. Trump is supposed to be the MAGA candidate, Make America Great Again, not the MIGA candidate. And what the MIGA candidate always does, the mask is dropped. He is the MIGA candidate, Make Israel Great Again. Its number one premise has to be hogtying Israel and American interest, Israeli and American foreign international immunity interests together, and saying, well, their interest is our interest. Therefore, it's a very simple problem. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C, right? If this is good for Israel and American interest is identical to Israeli interest, then it's good for America. So it's MAGA in the first place, but it's MIGA in the first place, but MAGA in the last place. We have nothing in common in earnest with Israel. And if that premise is true, which is why seeing a little bit of this in the mid-ground, the background, then the mid-ground, now it's in the foreground. I've been doing a lot of Israel stuff. And Carrie Prejean-Buller has been doing a lot of Israel stuff. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about it, not just me. I'm not claiming this is an area of special prescience of this channel. But I can tell you philosophically and theologically, we are absolutely not pro-Israel. We're not pro-Judaism. We're not pro-Zionism. We're against all that stuff. So if the Ayatollah's dead and we just do another failed regime change, we're already 0 for 4. We've tried regime change about 4 times in the Middle East in the last 20 years. We had Bush trying it with 2 countries and Obama trying it with 2 countries. And we're 0 for 4. So if we want to go 0 for 5 on regime change, that's fine. You kill an Ayatollah. He's a bad dude. No harm, no foul. No American blood spent, or not much. I mean, I just read you that our bases are taking hell. So there probably are some American lives lost there. And that's God bless the sailors. But if that were it, then it would be fine. But this is a full-blown conflict where I believe we're going to be boots on the ground. We'll wait and see. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted this. We said no more foreign wars, no more regime change. We said it on rally stage after rally stage, speech after speech. This is a really good tweet. We said it on rally stage after rally stage, she says, MTG says, speech after speech. Trump, Vance, basically the entire admin campaigned on it and promised to put America first and make America great again. My generation, she says, has been let down, abused, and used by our government our entire adult lives, and our children's generation is literally being abandoned. Think about this. The under 50 crowd getting starker numbers as you go to the under 40 crowd is completely against Israel. 91% for the under 50 crowd. It's probably upwards of 94% for the under 40 crowd. But I have seen the under 50 crowd. But they do not support this. This is a catastrophe for the midterms in 26 and the general elections in 28, by the way. That's just the obvious thing. No special insight there. Thousands and thousands of Americans, MTG says, from my generation have been killed and injured in never-ending, pointless foreign wars, and we said no more. But we're freeing the Iranian people. Please. There are 93 million people in Iran. Let them liberate themselves. What is so complex about that? Because to say that we're like helping freedom fighters in Iran is strictly pretextual. Right? That's fine. The Ayatollahs mean the 93 million people who subserve him in Iran or subserved him in Iran. We feel for them, but there are dictators all around the world. We're not doing this out of charity. We're doing it, the charity, that is, pretextually, because Israel wants us to, because there is one country, one foreign, sovereign, national that is the beneficiary of all of this. It's not America. It's not going to be Iran in the long run because regime change doesn't work. Puppet governments don't work. Regime change fails. So it's not the Iranian people, who might be a good, noble race of Persians, or however you want to characterize the noble savage over there. It's Israel. They will run the boards with Iran out of the way. It is decidedly Israel. We're doing this for them. It's an early 10 birthday gifts wrapped up and sent all over seas at once. Why do we do it? This is almost like a cosmic mystery at this point. How is a small, radical left, secular Jew country the size of New Jersey the power of powers in the world? How do all of the Five Eyes subserve it? I mean, I'm going off on a thing here. I'm not trying to. I'm less into listening to rants these days. People just want facts with a little commentary. But how is this New Jersey-sized Jew state controlling of Great Britain, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all and then all of our little satellite states? How? Is a mystery. There are 93 million people in Iran. Let them liberate themselves. But Iran is on the verge of having nuclear weapons. Yeah, sure. They have been saying this shit since before I went to Italy. I went to Italy in 2007. Me and Steph did. And remember, every morning, I remember finishing my last job, teaching job, in May, April and May. Then I was going to work that summer. And then we're going to, at the end of the summer, ship off to Italy. And I remember listening to Glenn Beck every morning on the way to work in 2007 spring. And it was, Iran's on the verge of nuclear weapons. You remember this, Steph? That's all he talked about. And this is before I knew much about the Zionism thing. It's before I knew much about the situation in the area. And I said, oh, well, Iran, I guess getting nuclear weapons, that's really bad. That was 19 years ago. And they had been doing that for 19 years before that. It's pretextual. So MTG says, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. We've been spoon-fed that line for decades. And Trump told us that his bombing this past summer completely wiped it all out. Remember that? He said, look, no other conflicts are going to be necessary. It's always a lie. And it's always America last. But it feels like the worst betrayal this time because it comes from the very man in the very administration who we all believed was different and said no more. We thought the victory won in 2024 would be finally time to put America first. We thought maybe Trump learned the lesson of putting Kushner and the Jews and the Neocons in charge of his admin. Remember when they kicked out all of the decent advisors 9 or 10 months into the first Trump admin? Said, okay, he dropped the ball there. in 2016. The rest of his first presidency sucked. He didn't build the wall, but I guess Congress shut him down. Let's give him another crack at it. 2020, say less. I don't want to get into that. 2024, let's give him another crack at it. He got shot in the face. He's kind of baller. Let's give him another crack at it. And now he's just totally flopped. He's totally flopped. And all of these guys, like Nick Adams or whatever his name is, Cat Turd, Bongino, all of the MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers, MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers, just they won't say word one about how much he's flip-flopped. MTG says, we thought the victory won in 2024 would finally be time to put America first. And we thought that meant that the common American man and woman and their children, not the elites. America suffered. They don't even care. Hundreds of thousands of American small business owners lost their hard-earned businesses during the tyrannical beer bug lockdowns that, by the way, started under Trump with 15 days to slow the spread, continued under Biden and the Democrats. There's no difference between them. MTG is saying all this. It's pretty ballsy. Vaccine injuries, deaths, delays, and loss in our taxpayer-funded education. I mean, come on. Record high suicides, record high big pharma profits, and zero accountability for anyone from the MAGA America First administration as they run off to start wars and the board of peace at the same time. That's a great point. Great rhetorical point. Remember, the Vatican, God bless it, said, no, we're not going to take place in this Israel First American board of peace. And they shut Trump down. That was a little over a week ago. The board of peace with this largest full-scale war since Iraq in 2001, and probably more catastrophic than Iraq. Largest full-scale war in 25 years for America's part. And the week before, Trump's trying to co-opt the Vatican onto the board of peace. This is farce. You can't write this stuff. The amount of cognitive dissonance, doublespeak is more like it. Cognitive dissonance is when it's some retard who doesn't know that he's contradicting himself left and right. This is pretext. This is Animal Farm level Orwellian doublespeak. Board of peace. By the way, we're going to war with Iran. You're some gay hippie peacenik if you don't like it. That's what they're trying to say. Is that the guy's name? Nick Adams, Bongino, Cat Turd. They're all trying to say you're like some faggy hippie if you don't want to go. That's not what it is at all. This is, you're not going. Trump. Lindsey Graham's fat gay ass. I'm not going. I just am not comfortable going to war and sending other people to go fight it unless it's really, really critical. You need the young bloods to go do their whatever. This is the least critical. There's no difference between Trump and the other side. He came back and he's like a skin changer. He's one of them. He's a traitor. Remember, he never built a wall. That's the most basic fact that I think is the most narrative betraying fact of Trump. He never built a wall. Donald Trump's presidency was erected upon the hypothetical wall with Mexico. And he never built it. He's a fraud. MTG goes on: vaccine injuries, deaths, delays, loss in our taxpayer-funded education, record high suicides, record high big pharma. Create the crisis and the solution simultaneously and then build condos to profit. MAGA. For years, we demanded to release the Epstein files, demanding transparency and justice for thousands of victims, women and children, by the richest, most powerful men in the world. And we had to fight Trump himself to do it. You can't disagree there. Even after he campaigned on it. His MAGA candidates, like MTG, campaigned on it. They're like, remember, you'd be in jail. He told Hillary on the basis of that whole suite of facts, that whole constellation of Pizzagate, all of that, you'd be in jail. Well, he was saying that about Benghazi, but he was insinuating a whole constellation of things we all know to be true about that, all the elites. He was the outsider coming in. He was going to bust heads. He was going to break up cartels. He was going to shake things down, whereas they'd been shaken up. Or shake things up, whereas they'd been just getting shaken down, however that expression goes. He was going to be the outside guy that drains the swamp. And he is the swamp. He's a skin changer, or just the world's biggest fucking fraud. Not a single person has been arrested and likely won't be over the Epstein files, she says. No accountability, no justice. Instead, we get a war with Iran on behalf of Israel that will succeed in regime in Iran. Another foreign war for foreign people, for foreign regime change. For what? Let's go. Does it lower inflation that our government caused by both Democrats and Republicans with their decades of corrupt government spending, enslaving us in nearly $40 trillion of debt and reduce the value of our dollar to nothing? No, war with Iran does not lower inflation and make cost of living affordable. Does war with Iran fix our healthcare system and make health insurance affordable for Americans? That's a problem everyone cares about. No, war with Iran does not do that. And the MAGA admin and Republicans aren't even working on it in any serious way at all. That's what's most frustrating in all this, is the opportunity cost of time and attention, as if the Republicans actually wanted to work on the right issues. Assuming the best of them, which is probably assuming too much, and they wanted to work on these domestic issues that actually animate the real American working class voter, the ones that MTG just listed, even if they wanted to tend to those things and they just simply failed to, opportunity cost, time scarcity. Now they're doing this Iran war, but they don't even want to do that shit in the first place. Does war with Iran stop AI from replacing your job? No, I don't even think that's going to happen. But people, I guess, are worried about robots being our masters or whatever. So fine, that's at least something that a leader addresses that is a popular concern, near to the hearts and minds of the people. That would be something. Does war with Iran help the mental health crisis in America or help the drug addiction pandemic in America? No. Does war with Iran do anything to help American families stay together and survive? No, not at all. But within hours of war with Iran, it was reported approximately 40 innocent girls, school children, I think it's 85, this is preliminary. School children in Iran were killed by bombs from Israel. And they don't care. And they don't care.
We have an ultra boomer response in chat. It says, so you're abandoning Trump, you will become a Democrat, the party that supported Iran. Man, things are moving past you guys.
Yeah, boy, the sun is set on your little intellectual province, your provincial little world of piffle. I mean, I really feel sorry for you. What's this? What's
John
this
Plick?
John Plick?
Yeah.
Mr. Plick, you know what? I'm going to pray for you the way the passive-aggressive Catholics say. I pity you, man, because the sun has set. The world has turned on your view of it. Your view of the world is so
retarded, old, irrelevant,
outmoded, but it was never relevant.
Shameful,
here's the thing. I was going to say obsolete,
weird.
But I like to pick my words. I like to pick my words carefully in these interchanges with the profoundly nescient, such as yourself. Because I'll be kicking myself when I listen to this later. Oh, your view of the world is obsolete. It was never relevant. You and your people, your age group, your generation, whatever it is, who believed that Israel was our greatest ally, were so badly hoodwinked that I feel legit pity for you. I feel bad for most of the boomers who think that this is good and they're cheerleading it. It's pathetic. It's like the shadow play is your entire world. the shadow play in the cave, the political theater, absolutely false. Israel is the most evil nation on earth. Zionism, together with Darby dispensationalism, which go together like a wink and a nod, are the most politically nefarious, politically charged perversions of Christianity ever. The closest thing to an anti-gospel. Everyone knows I hate this idea of Christian feminism or, mutual submission. That's a false gospel. But a true false gospel at the macroscopic level is this Christian Zionism thing that is the intellectual beating heart of your entire view of the world. So I don't want to yell at you. I'll pray for you.
Can the other
I'm
good
sorry, you're not
boomers
obsolete? You never understood what was going on.
you like we call them the based boomers. Can you based boomers start putting these guys in lockers and like just beating the crap out of them? Like, because they're giving you guys, your generation, like such a bad name. Like it's always this with the boomers, like the ones that just are just so ignorant. Like, oh, so you're telling me you're gonna vote like this one? So you wish you would have voted for Kamala? Like It's so. I feel like I'm talking to a child, and it's like a 75-year-old person.
Well, it's a false dichotomy. Okay, I know maybe you've never conceived that there's such a thing as a false dilemma or a false dichotomy, a false choice. But if it's true that the Democrats in Congress and the Republicans in Congress are a pro-Israel uniparty, neither of whom really care about domestic policy. Neither. The shadow play on the cave wall. Here's my theory of the case. Okay, you could tell me.
You want to just explain the cave real quick for people who don't know, because it's actually
the shadow play, the deception that the politicians use to animate popular passions. Shadow play on the wall. They're using pictures of real things to animate the people in a deceptive way to accomplish ends that are unspoken. The Democrats pretend to care about this suite of domestic programs, and you take all those together and they represent some particular view of the world. I'm a Democrat. I'm for the welfare state. Now I'm for LGBTQ plus rights. I'm for sexual libertinism. I'm for open borders. And on the other hand, I'm a Republican. I'm for, responsible fiscal solvency, self-control, self-reliance economically, small business owners. I'm against welfare. I'm for families. I'm broadly speaking pro-Christian policies. I want to tighten up the border. I want to deport illegal immigrants. These are the policies that neither elite, that is to say, congressional or judicial, federal judicial, Republicans and Democrats don't give a hoot about. Do not give a hoot about. They don't care about those things. They talk about them. But really what animates all of them, the congressional, executive, and judicial, Democrats and Republicans, is the foreign policy. We are Israel's bitch. And they all agree on that much. All of them aside from Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie. It's a very short list out of about 500 people. It's a very short list. 550 people or something. There's only like a couple of them that don't have an Israeli AIPAC handler, according to Thomas Massie. And we believe it. So every bit of, I'm not saying there's no argument to go to war with Iran. I'm saying there's no true argument, no non-pretextual argument, no morally legitimate argument, and no practically compelling argument. It's not like we have strong morality on the one side, but it would be oh so convenient to American interest to go, so let's fudge the moral implications. It's not even that. There's not even anything that is compelling or tempting from an American point of view to go to war with Iran. There's nothing we get. We get nothing. Tell me, boomers in the audience, tell me, what do you think are the desiderata of war with Iran?
It's going to do the nuclear weapons.
But okay, but why? Do you really think they're going to, if we just left them alone, do you think they're going to use nuclear weapons on us? Let Israel deal with it. Yes, we are the great Satan if Israel's the little Satan. If we tie ourselves at the hip to Israel. What's a real, that doesn't count. What is a real benefit to America for going to war with Iran? Name one. Oh, wait. And again, this is the optimal hypothetical situation where if we as Catholics, we can't accept an immoral situation even that enriches us or benefits us, right? So sometimes in life, you get into these dilemmas where it's like, oh my gosh, if I just peek at my neighbor, I'm in the classroom, I'm taking the final exam. If I just peek, I'm sitting next to the smartest kid in class. If I just peek at his exam, which is deeply immoral, I can get a 95 on this test, final exam, even though I didn't study. Well, there's great benefit on the one side, practically, weighing against your morals, but you're never supposed to weigh your categorical grave morals. It's one thing if it's venial matter, but this is a grave matter, cheating, mortal sin. You're never supposed to do this balancing test. But at least if you mess up and you do the wrong thing, people can say, well, I get why you did it. There's a tremendous value on the countervailing scale, right? The Iranian, Middle Eastern, Israel, pro-Israel situation is so vexing, so enraging to young people mostly younger than me, but to the non-Israel crowd, the anti-Zionist crowd, precisely because there's nothing even compelling on the countervailing scale, on the other side of the balance. America gets nothing. We get nothing out of it. It's immoral to just bomb the shit out of the innocent lives of 85 little Iranian girls. Dead, obliterated, blown to smithereens, right? Yeah.
Larry Loomer's all over Twitter saying, no, that was actually Iran that did it.
That was Iran that did it. Yeah. That's not what all the widespread reports are. New York Times, Washington Post, Al Jazeera. I know she's going to say that's biased, but what do we get? So we would aspire to pitch this as a traditional moral dichotomy, moral praxis dichotomy. It would be really great, like the cheating on the final exam example. At least, the parents who find out their kid got caught cheating on a final exam, they'd be like, well, I get why you did it. It's just completely loathsomely immoral. But there's not even that. It's like doing something morally perverse where you get no even ostensible proximate good. Because you could do the evil thing and get proximate goods out of it, right? The man who commits adultery with a beautiful woman, Thomas Aquinas says, well, that's a proximate good. It's wicked. But okay, he did something wicked. It's not justifiable. He'll go to hell for it if he doesn't confess it. But it's a proximate good. He had adultery with this. He had the comforts of adultery with a beautiful woman. But there's not even that in this Iran war, pro-Middle Eastern war, pro-Middle Eastern regime change, 0 for 4, now 0 for 5, soon to be 0 for 5 situation. Because we get nothing. We're helping a wicked country that views us all as goyim, who hates us, who hates Christians, who, let's just go through the theology quickly. For Jewish people, Jesus, this is what they believe from the Talmud, is boiling an excrement in hell. And Mary was a harlot hairdresser who conceived of Jesus as a bastard. And they hate both Jesus and Mary, which is why, whether it's a secular Jew or a religious Jew, They all say the most wicked thing, whether it's some, little Hebe like Sarah Silverman says the most vile things about sex and abortion and Jesus and Mary. That's a very typical Jewish thing because this is the Talmud. They're all shaped Talmudically. And this is what they believe in Israel, whether they're mostly secular or not. Then you cross over to Sharia law. And what are you taught about? I know you're taught to hate, Sharia law nations. But did you know that Jesus is the second highest prophet in Islam and that in most Sharia law nations, it's the death penalty for saying something disrespectful about him? They don't believe he's God. They're not our friends, but they're respectful. Do you know they believe Mary is the holiest woman and that it's the death penalty for saying something unholy about Mary? Do you understand the difference between Jews and Muslims? Because I don't think you do. I think you've been lied to. And you walk around supporting wicked things on the basis of a simulacrum, on the basis of a completely false schematic of what's going on in the Middle East. None of us really knows, right? But there's this cosmic mystery that is Israel, post-Christ Judaism, the people who killed him. They killed their prophet. They killed their Messiah. Now they said, let his blood be upon us and our children in the Bible. Jesus himself says in the Gospel of John, Jesus himself says, the God of the Jews is the devil. John chapter 8, verse 44. And you retards are saying, so you're saying Jews are God's chosen people? Israel. You morons think that because in 1948 and before, after World War II, the post-war consensus is let's name this radical left Christian-hating nation the size of New Jersey. Let's name it something that Christians will take really dear. They'll receive it with religious fervor. Let's call it Israel. What if they'd called the 1948 new secular radical left state Jesus? Would we have to worship it then? Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Donald J. Trump. You guys are retarded. I don't even know if I finished the MTG thing.
Greg, your brother Greg sent a really good text that you might want to read. I bookmarked the tweet he sent.
Yeah, he sent me that one too. Okay, so this is good. The USS Gerald R. Ford is not parked near Iran. It is parked off Israel. Nobody is asking the only question that matters. Why? This is from Shinaka Anselm Pereira. The $13.3 billion crown jewel of the U.S. Navy, the largest warship ever constructed, just positioned itself off Haifa, right off of Israel's coast. Not in the Arabian Sea, where the Lincoln sits 850 kilometers from Iranian shores, loaded for offensive operations. Not in the Gulf, where strike range is optimal. Off Israel, defending Israel. This is not redundancy. This is architecture. This is a great tweet. 2 carriers, 2 missions, 2 entirely different strategic functions. The Lincoln is the sword, positioned to launch strike packages into Iranian airspace within hours of an order. The Ford is the shield. Its Aegis missile defense systems creating an umbrella over Israeli population that centers against the retaliation that follows the first Tomahawk. America just split its carrier doctrine into offense and defense simultaneously. That has not happened since the Pacific Theater in 1945. But the positioning reveals something deeper than tactics. When Iran retaliates, and every war game says Iran retaliates, its missiles and drones fly toward Israel. They will fly through the same airspace where a U.S. carrier strike group is now stationed. Think about this. This is stark reasoning. Every Iranian missile aimed at Tel Aviv or Haifa must traverse the Ford's defensive envelope. Shooting at Israel means shooting at, around, and through an American carrier group. We literally position ourselves as the bulletproof vest. Iran cannot retaliate against Israel without engaging American naval assets. The Ford's position makes that physically impossible. The carrier is not defending Israel as a favor. It is positioned so that any Iranian response to American strikes automatically becomes an attack on American forces, triggering the full unrestrained weight of U.S. military response without a single additional political decision required. This is escalation insurance written in steel and seawater. If the campaign goes longer than planned, if munitions run thin in 7 to 10 days, if allies hesitate, the Ford's position ensures that Iranian retaliation does the political work Washington cannot do alone. It transforms a limited American strike into an act of self-defense that no ally can refuse to support. You do not park a $13.3 billion carrier where the enemy's return fire will hit it unless you want the enemy's return fire to hit it.
And there's a follow-up to that, by the way, that I just found. Let me put that on the screen as well. Let me find this for you.
That's good. That's really good.
It says, let me put this on so that everybody can see it. It says, USS Gerald Ford goes dark. One of America's most powerful warships disappears from public tracking. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier on Earth, is no longer visible on open source tracking systems. When carriers go silent, it usually means one thing: operational mode. A nuclear-powered supercarrier does not need to broadcast its position. It moves when and where it chooses, with overwhelming force behind it. If the Ford strike group is repositioning for combat operations, the strategic message is unmistakable. The world's most powerful navy is preparing. Watch closely.
Oh, that's bad.
And we got another like holy boomer Batman quote for you to respond to. Let me see if I can find it. Basically, the argument goes that Christians, here we go. Muslims live and work in Israel. Jews and Catholics are not allowed in Palestine.
Yeah.
Remind me again how Christians are treated in Israel.
Even boomers will report when they go to the Holy Land. They're spit on by Jews regularly. And usually their polite little tour guide of the Christian sites is a Muslim guy. Spit on by Jews. Usually treated quite nicely by the Muslims over there. I don't like Islam, by the way. I got making fun of Islam. It was one of the things I got fired for in 2020. One of the 3 tweets cited to me was an anti-Islam. So I haven't changed on that. But the point is, who's the worst? Who's the evil one? Ann Coulter's a little interesting here because she seems to have, I'm looking at her, just because these people that were closely followed 10, 15, 20 years ago are the accounts that I've been following. Have you flipped on this? She reposted a J.D. Vance tweet from March 19th of 2023, 3 years ago almost. He said, 20 years ago, we invaded Iraq. The war killed many innocent Iraqis and Americans. It destroyed the oldest Christian populations in the world. It cost over $1 trillion and turned Iraq into a satellite of Iran. It was an unforced disaster, and I pray that we learn its lessons. I guess those lessons are missed. And Coulter also has an interview up with the brilliant Josh Hammer.
Oh.
So that's
he's got to be the most odious Jew
in
America.
Well, people
second
know
only to
I've
Mark
debated
Levin.
that guy. What'd you say?
I said second only to Mark Levin and Laura Loomer.
Yeah, I have a special kind of, I hold him in a special kind of odium. Josh Hammer. I debated this guy in person. He was very rude, dirty little snake, little guy. He's like 3'6". It's like a little Shlomo Hobbit. Not brilliant at all. Was wiping the floor with him in a 14th Amendment debate, and he just started getting rude. So I started getting rude back. It was bad. I debated him at Ole Miss for Federalist Society. A lot of people don't know. I was initially placed onto the Trump 2020 steering committee, the original re-election thing, Catholics for Trump. Got vetted off. That's what Catherine O'Neill told me. 4 anti-Semitic remarks. I had made far fewer back then. Far fewer. On Twitter. Allegedly, according to Catherine O'Neill, Jared Kushner himself picked me off of that thing. I had my own theories at the time, but now I guess I buy it. Boy, I'm half curious to watch this Ann Coulter thing. Why would she call Josh Hammer brilliant? Dave Rubin is tweeting AI, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and what's his face? Young Turks crying, wrapped in the American flag, and all of these Iranians celebrating around them. You can if you're on Twitter, you can go look at what I responded to him.
I'll put it up. Let me see. I'll find it.
Yeah, what a weird situation. Man.
Here, I'll put it up right here. It is. You can see Tim's comment.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. You can get away with a lot more on Twitter than you can on YouTube still. Iran just announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Read that again. 20 million barrels of oil pass through that strait every single day. This is good for us, right? This is great for us. 15% of all liquefied natural gas on Earth transits that choke point. 1/5 of global petroleum supply moves through a channel 21 miles wide at its narrowest between Iran and Oman. The IRGC Navy broadcast by VHF radio on February 28, 2026, that no vessels are allowed to cross. Every tanker captain in the Persian Gulf heard that transmission. Every oil trading desk on the planet priced it within minutes. Brent crude hit $120 a barrel intraday. That is the opening number. If a single tanker is struck, seized, or mined, the models go to 200. That seems a bit alarmist. I'd have to consult my geologist family on this. But okay, say that half that's true, and it goes to $160 a barrel. $200 oil. Global economy does not slow down. It seizes every factory in China that runs on imported. I mean, he's playing this out. This oil tanker trolley car problem, if you will, except it's not its moral effects are being measured. Its practical effects, all based on what happens when you close the Strait of Hormuz. We've seen it happen before, and it does drive the cost of oil up. So that's not America first. What is it? Man, I just don't get it. I don't get it. We have comments.
Yeah, we have some super chats if you'd like to get to those.
Let's do those.
Beeb says Trump's trying to hide a big black eye in that video, the original video where he announced the plan to
proverbially or
kill all our sons for Israel. Yeah, I think they're trying to say Black Eye Club.
Is he? I mean, I thought I saw both his eyes.
Somebody said, "Look, I understand we all don't like the Iranian regime in power, but isn't this a violation of just war precepts? I don't like this. We got better press. We've got a better precedent for liberating Cuba and Mexico."
Yeah, we don't need to liberate anyone. That's the thing. We don't need to liberate anyone. We need to liberate ourselves. All of the domestic policy issues that have a stranglehold over Americans right now. I'm not going to list them all. All of those issues near and dear to everyone's hearts. Young people can't buy a house, right? A house is $500,000 in the average state. A livable house to start a family in is $500,000 or more.
That's what happened to us. Like, we got into our house and it increased like over a couple of years, like almost $200,000. It was insanity. Like, we got in at the very last minute. I don't know how that these young people are affording homes, and the answer is that they're not.
Yeah. Phaser tweeted, "Unjust wars are to the right what abortion is to the left." That's good.
Dustin says, "I love how they always conflate Iranian-backed militias with Sunni jihadi terrorism. Just propaganda they use on ignorant normies that don't know anything about the Middle East." Exactly. And it works so well. It's effective every time. I'm just looking for all the Trump D writers like Cat Turd. Look for those while I read you these super chats. Yeah. The Vatican, CB7841 said, the Vatican explained in the 19th century, EMJ quotes their publication La Civiltà Catholica, if you turn away from the laws of the Christian kings, you will be ruled by fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Which is what we have on the screen right now.
Yeah. What do we have
Just
there?
Trump with the Israeli flag and
there it is.
everyone bowing to it. JD Rawls said, per E. Michael Jones, perhaps the marks of the end of the Third Republic, certainly an apocryphal defining event. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think that could be a little grandiloquent. Could be a bit maudlin for where we are in history. I don't think we should start talking about apocalypso. I just think this is awful.
Song of Roland said, boomers just don't get it. You don't have to love Israel or Iran. Stop backing people who hate Christ. Thank you.
Tradcath supporting the Islamic Sharia state that executes people for converting to Christianity and just mowed down 30,000 peaceful protesters. We talk about the Red-Green Alliance, but maybe we should add a new color. I need more context for that, because Ted retweeted that or tweeted that, and Anthony Stein reposted it. I wouldn't think. I'm just trying to see where everyone's at on this.
Did you see this? Did you hear that super chat I just read?
Sorry, say it again.
Boomers just don't get it. You don't have to love Israel or Iran. Stop backing people who hate Christ.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I meant by false dilemma. I don't have to like either. And you've been programmed by, a Zionist occupied media here in America to think that it's a zero-sum game. To love one is to hate the other. To hate one is to love the other. This is not how it works. I am not for Muslims or Jews, but I don't want to sound like Matt Walsh here. One of those parties, I'll let you guess which one, has a kind of 8-front control over your thought, and it's not the Muslims. Dave Smith, himself a Jewish man, says, by launching this illegal war of aggression against Iran, Donald Trump has betrayed the American people and his own base, none of whom wanted this. He has sided with Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, Benjamin Netanyahu, the most despised laughingstocks on the planet. By announcing that this is indeed a regime change war, as anyone paying attention and being honest has known all along, he has tied his entire legacy to this action. True. If he isn't able to achieve a regime change, he will have killed a bunch of people for no reason. True. If the regime does fall, we have already admitted that we have no one to install, and without boots on the ground, it is difficult to install a regime, even if you had someone. Trump will be responsible for what comes next, the thing warhawks never consider.
Swinters07 says, hypothetically, what's the worst thing that happen if Iran gets a nuclear weapon? Do we have the military ability to deal with such a threat anyway?
No one can rightly say that there's a credible threat of Iran having weapons, because they've been saying this for 47 years. They've been saying it really volubly for the last 25. What if Iran gets a nuclear weapon? They're enriching uranium. We have to destroy their enriched uranium plants. Well, if they're a week away from enriching uranium, which is what they said 20 years ago, all they need is a payload system. That doesn't take long. Why is that 20 years ago? Nick Fuentes, I want to give a shout out to Nick Fuentes, who's been all over this and has been vindicated left, right, and center.
Do you have a clip you want to play? I can bookmark it, but
you have a clip here.
Bookmark it and I'll play it.
We're back in June. He said this is not near over just because of the swift, decisive action back in June. He's like, this is just the beginning.
Here, is this the Grimaldis
yes.
tweet? Okay, let me get that up there for everybody.
Money and make it. You think Israel's going to watch Iran reconstitute?
Oops, sorry, it's buffering.
And get money and make a deal and integrate in the region, and the regime is going to not only remain but grow stronger? Of course, they're not going to do that. So I would not be surprised if we're going to do this all over again before the end of the year. And that's how the Israelis set it up. With their first strike, with their last strike, they decapitated the government. Clearly, they still have an eye towards regime change. And with Iran's program intact, with Iran and the United States still willing to negotiate ostensibly, and the only good that can come out of that is that Iran is going to rebuild all its strength, Israel will have every incentive to make sure that a deal does not happen. They have every incentive to make sure that Iran cannot get sanctions relief, cannot reconstitute its program, its missiles, cannot restore the credibility of its government in the minds of the people. Like they're not going to allow that to happen. Yep. They've said it repeatedly. This is our once in a lifetime opportunity to change the entire balance of power forever. Syria is defeated. Hezbollah is defeated. The Houthis are degraded. Hamas is defeated. They're now going to let Iran get strong again. They're going to let Obama pallets full of cash, Biden $6 billion in unfrozen assets. Like, think about this. It's a no-brainer. Iran is going to say, we're not giving up enrichment, and we won't even make any agreement unless we get concrete sanctions relief in the near term. That's what they're going to say. And if that happens, you know what it's going to be? Obama pallets full of cash. Biden unfroze $6 billion. Trump gave them billions of dollars to fund the rebuilding of their proxy network, to fund the rebuilding of their missile program. And that's what they'll do. The Iranians will insist we will not negotiate about our ballistic missiles, only nuclear. They're going to rebuild the missiles, and that is a huge part of it for Israel. They're going to rebuild the proxies. That's a huge part of it for Israel. So if you think this is done, you're just not paying attention. Again, we're done bombing Iran until the next time we bomb Iran. We're done in our war with Iran until the next major escalation, until the next major flashpoint in our war with Iran. We won't be dragged into bombing Iran until the next time we get dragged into bombing Iran. It has happened over and over and over again. And if you think this was the last word, if you think there's any finality, well, here it is staring you right in the face. There is no finality to this here. This is not a conclusion at all. This is like the end credits scene when, Iran reaches up from inside the grave. It sets up the sequel. I hope that's not the, and for anybody that is interested, I'm not cheering for that. I hope that doesn't happen. My dream would be that the United States totally restrains Israel and does regime change there, and Israel's brought to heel. And I hope that Iran makes a deal and they get confidence that they're not going anywhere, and investment goes in and they're our ally. And I wish nothing but the best. But this is a situation staring us in the face right now. And you're just naive to ignore these very troubling developments. So
he's right. I don't have a lot to add to that. He said he thought that the regime change would happen by the end of the year. No, he was, about 2 months shy of that. That's pretty. There's another clip of him saying by April. Oh, okay. So pretty impressive.
Moving on with the super chats. Read the policy paper, Which Path to Persia by the Brookings Institute. In chapter 5, the U.S. elite, says they will blame Israel.
Who will blame Israel?
They just said.
Can we get a follow up on that?
Yeah. Henrik, Worst of Sinners, just write who they are, please. Matthew Williams said, how cucked is Trump? It didn't even require a false flag for us to go in and start bombing.
No. Well, this has been the plan all along from this, at least from the start of this administration. There's no change agency in the area. This is I probably needed to say that earlier. In my mind, it becomes clear that he came back in 24, and this has been the plan all along.
Lauren says, think Barron is signed up for the draft?
Bishop Barron?
No, his son.
Oh, Barron. I was like, Bishop Barron. Somehow I think not.
I will hide my son. I will burrow a hole in our yard with a bunker before I send my son off to war for Israel.
It's
Hell
really
no.
striking. We watched a couple BBC shows. What did we watch? So we were late to the party on Downton Abbey, or Steph watched it at the time. I watched it recently. And all the Great War rhetoric. I don't want to be left behind. Same stuff on the BBC show, All Creatures Great and Small, which we were watching. I don't want to be left behind. I want to be part of the Great War. That shit really worked on early 20th century Americans with World War I and mid 20th century Americans and I guess British with World War II. That war prop, that agitprop really worked. I'd be ashamed to be left behind. You want to go fight in a foreign conflict? Look, I know how shit gets ugly. When Mike Tyson says everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. I know, because I've been hit in the mouth. I've been hit in the nose. I've been hit in the mouth. I've been hit in the back of the head. I've been all kinds of real skirmishes. I've never been a soldier, okay, but I've been in lots of fights. And I'll tell you this. I don't want a piece of anyone unless it's a real just war. And the thing about just wars, to defend what Ed Fazer was saying, is they're all the kind of ones that are close and near and dear. A just war requires proximacy. Like if you're talking about fighting around the globe, it's almost always unjust, pretty much categorically unjust, because it's not subsidiarian. And you're having to, it's too many degrees of separation away from true exigency, which is also closely tied conceptually to moral relevancy. So if you go around and you're just a guy that's good at fighting because you trained in martial arts, and you go to bars and you look for drunk guys to F with, that's immoral. That's what it sounds like. Very best case scenario, even if you take the Israel analysis out of the equation, which you shouldn't really do, but even holding that equal, these neocon warhawks, this is like, we're the biggest and baddest military. We're just looking for someone to beat up on. And you could always find a bad guy, like the angry drunk. Angry drunks are assholes. We know that. You can always go to any little dive bar in America with rednecks wearing their shit kickers and their big belt buckles, having had 3 too many, and they're going to be an a-hole, and you could go fight them all. You could be a vigilante if you know how to. I have a lot of friends that own MMA dojos in the DFW area. I used to hang out with a lot of fighters in the DFW area, friends and friends of friends. If you want to be an a-hole and feel like a big man and still be pseudo-morally justified, pretextually morally justified, just go hang out in dive bars. Find guys acting a little rude or uppity and beat them all up. That's best case scenario what a neocon is, right? I'm not saying Israel's good. Iran is good. Definitely not Israel. I'm not saying Iran's good. But why do they matter to us? They're over the globe from us.
You gotta love the boomers. They provide so much entertainment. But Holy Boomer Batman is back, and glad you two clowns weren't parents in the 1940s, or we'd all be speaking German now.
We'd all be speaking German. They all say that.
Dumb. Why would I be speaking German? Like, let's say like Germany just persists. Why would I, an English speaker in America, like follow the conclusion to national? Why would I start speaking German?
Yeah. Why would we be speaking German?
About?
Retard. Come on, write comments back faster. If you want to engage in the show, I'll engage with you because you're retarded. Explain to me why, if American non-interventionism prevailed, why would we be speaking German? You might say, the Italians, other Axis powers, they'd probably still be speaking Italian,
Tim does speak
actually,
Italian.
but they might be under a German hegemon, maybe. You might say, Japanese would have more Germanic influence. You might say Europe would have more Germanic influence. Explain to me how, if we just stayed here and not gotten involved, we wouldn't be speaking Neocon coded language all the time if we hadn't gotten involved. Because if we hadn't gotten involved in World War II, then there would be no such thing as the Five Eyes. There'd be no such thing as the Balfour Declaration. We would still be America. Europe might look a little different, and that might not be exactly what we want. You could make an argument for or against there. But explain to me why we would be speaking German if Hitler had been allowed to expand Germany's imperial borders. I'm waiting for that one.
Well, he had a really good point to follow that up.
Yeah.
And the point was,
High alacrity.
you guys are angry podcaster dwarves.
Okay, good. Very nice. That's excellent. I don't even know what to say to these people. Do you know your whole worldview is not even obsolete. It was never relevant.
This one says, please don't paint all boomers with the same brush. That's fine. Just guys, if you're a boomer, you guys can't keep putting up with this.
Yeah,
you guys have to call out your
boomers to STFU, man.
You guys have to make fun of your own generation. Like, we're holding down the fort on millennials on that. Like, that's what we do. We make fun of other millennials. You boomers need to step it up, like shaming your counterparts with this. I mean, it's so embarrassing. Someone's saying, I'd rather be speaking German than fake Yiddish Hebrew. That's so funny.
Yeah. I mean,
ironically, you speak Italian. I speak a little bit of German because you and I both have lived in those countries.
yeah, it's not the end of the world, man. I mean, you really drank that Kool-Aid hard.
Wow.
Israel, this is an American Reform post from this morning. Israel is our enemy and always has been. We must love our enemies and not pretend they don't exist. The Catholic Church has our back, because we are the true chosen people, not the faithless Jews. And he quotes from Pope St. Leo the Great, explains why the chosen race is no longer the Jews, but believers of every nation. He writes, and so they enter the chief city of the kingdom of Judea, and in the royal city ask that he should be shown them whom they had learned was begotten to be king. Herod is perturbed. He fears for his safety. He trembles for his power. He asks of the priests and teachers of the law what the scripture has predicted about the birth of Christ. He ascertains what had been prophesied. Truth enlightens the wise men. Unbelief binds the experts. Get this, carnal Israel understands not what it reads, sees not what it points out, refers to the pages, whose utterances it does not believe. Where is your boasting, O Jew? This is Pope St. Leo the Great, who also said, don't force conversions on the Jews, use sweetness of preaching. So he wasn't hateful to them, but he said, carnal Israel understands not what it reads. They killed Jesus. He also says later in this same speech, let the fullness of the nations enter into the family of the patriarchs. Yea, let it enter, and let the sons of promise receive in Abraham's seed the blessing which his sons, according to the flesh, renounced their claim to. He also said, for while the dignity of the chosen race is proved to be degenerate by unbelief in its descendants, meaning Christ, it is made common to all alike by our belief. So that's Pope St. Leo the Great. You'll hear Catholic Answers and Neocon type organizations say, remember, Pope St. Leo the Great said, don't convert the Jews forcibly, of course. Use sweetness of preaching, of course. But this is him still saying the truth about them. He's just saying don't convert them forcibly. This is papal encyclical Mystici Corporis Christi by this is Pius XII. The old covenant was made void and replaced by the blood of Jesus Christ. Here's what he says. And first of all, by the death of our Redeemer, this is Pius XII, in a papal encyclical, the New Testament took the place of the old law, which had been abolished. Then the law of Christ, together with its mysteries, enactments, institutions, and sacred rites, was ratified for the whole world in the blood of Jesus Christ. For while our divine Savior was preaching in a restricted area, he was not sent but to the sheep that were lost in the house of Israel. The law and the gospel were together in force. But on the gibbet of his death, Jesus made void the law with its decrees, fastened the handwriting of the Old Testament to the cross, establishing the New Testament in his bloodshed for the whole human race. Thank you, Pope Pius XII. To such an extent, then, says St. Leo the Great, speaking of the cross of our Lord, was there effected a transfer from the law to the gospel, from the synagogue to the church. Amen. Amen. I mean, that's based. The old covenant was made void and replaced by the blood of Jesus Christ. There we have it. So,
Bruce Wayne said, Batman is 100% traditional Catholic. Bruce Wayne has spoken.
What?
Super chat.
Okay, yeah. Making fun of the guy or what?
Yeah, because we're saying holy boomer Batman.
Boomer, Batman. Holy. Any other comments? So, I mean, God bless those who suffer silently at some level, but we, we have to say what the truth is. And hopefully the Lord continues to be with us, even though America continues to be on the wrong side, the driving drumbeat, the force of evil in the world. Unfortunately, there are different forms of evil. Not saying that the Ayatollahs are good, but Trump, the proof is let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Did not let your yes mean no. Trump campaigned in 16 and 20, in 2016 and 2020, very explicitly on no more foreign wars. And in 2024, he was ambivalent. He would go back and forth. But if what he's saying is true, if what he's doing is good, then why couldn't he campaign on the truth? How about a lot of new foreign wars? How about a foreign war with Iran, which the war hawks, the Jewish war hawks in Congress have been wanting since 1979? If it's true and it's good, why not let it stand on its own merits and let us elect you or not as president of the United States of America on the merits of what you actually plan to do? And all this stuff, the old covenant being made void and replaced by the blood of Jesus Christ, is relevant because theology is what matters here. They justify this Zionism, this Israel service, by explicit reference to pseudo-theology. Gosh, God be with us. God bless America and protect us through these evil times, bad decisions of our leaders, which are in the pocket of Israel. God bless you guys. And I'm not going to end with Deus Vult, right? Because that means God wills it. I don't think God wills this. I'm going to end with God bless us and protect us, even through the moral corruption and servility to Israel of our leaders. God bless you all.